Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Friday evening episode of Ted's Booze Cellar with me, your most gracious host Ted, the premier alcohol review show here on YouTube. It is currently 6:46 on the 23rd of October 2020, the year of the apocalypse. Now, I hope you're all doing well, and if things aren't going well for you at the moment, I do think and hope that they will improve promptly. Now, we are going to be taking a look today at a drink by one of our old friends, Tiny Rebel. Now, I've reviewed quite a few drinks from Tiny Rebel in the past, and generally they've been pretty good and consistent. What I quite like about them is that they are experimental, but they're not kind of like all over the place with their experimental sort of drinks. You know, usually it revolves around making some good IPAs and pale ales on one side, and then on the other side they're quite experimental with their stouts and their porters. So, and those are usually just based around something that's like a comprehensible, like British sweet thing. So, like before, I've reviewed I can't remember what it was called. It was a porter by them that was like espresso and marshmallow flavoured. Now that was like two distinct flavours mixed together, but it worked generally quite well. So I've got high hopes for this. I'm not going to put my hopes too high, just in case I do get disappointed. And I don't want to, you know, give it like a balanced, level playing field, so that, you know, if it is disappointing, it's not too bad. But if it's good, then it's good. So today we're going to be taking a look at Double 99 by the aforementioned Tiny Rebel. Now, this is a chocolate flake soft serve imperial stout. Now, chocolate flake soft serve, for those of you who aren't from the UK, it's also referred to sometimes as a Mr. Whippy or a soft 99, and it's a kind of ice cream that's served from ice cream vans up and down the country in the UK, and it's kind of like this soft whippy sort of like very light, mostly made of air and ice, kind of like ice cream that's pretty much always vanilla flavoured, and it's just served in a cone, squeezed from like a machine, and then stuck with like a little chocolate flake in it. It's really, really nice, but yeah, I'm not really sure how they got the concept of that into a stout, but I'm interested to see if it's any good or not. I'm hoping it is, because I like soft serve flake ice cream, and I really like stouts. So this has got quite a bit of a punch. It's 9.9% ABV, so it's a bit punchy. It's definitely stronger than like a Guinness or anything. So, you know, but I do really like the design of the can. It's friendly, it's light, but it's got that usual sort of, you know, cool, cartoony, edgy sort of character there that is reminiscent of Tiny Rebel themselves. So I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Very nice. Very simple, but colourful and expressive. So, yeah, I think it's quite good. So, let's give it a sniff and see what it smells like. It does have that sort of stoutiness of like a lot of craft stouts, with that tiny sort of like maybe watery-ish undertone, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it's not too prevalent here. I'm getting more of like a bitter chocolate flavour there, which, again, if it's more of the chocolate flavour, I'm not going to complain, although I hope that's not like the only flavour I can smell. So yeah, I'll give it like a 7.5 out of 10 for the smell. The smells there are a little bit imbalanced, but it doesn't smell bad. It smells fine. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10 for the smell. Quick palate cleanser of water, obviously, first before we taste it. I will say, this is one of the slightly pricier drinks that I've reviewed in recent months. This is £6.49 from the Wine Barrel on Western Road in Hove. So I hope it is worth the price. So, on to the most important part of today's episode, which is, of course, the tasting. So, bottoms up. Okay, there isn't actually really any watery undertone like there is throughout a lot of other craft stouts, so that's good. Okay, so most of the flavour is like that chocolatiness from the chocolate flake. It's like quite a bitter cocoa taste. and there's this tiny little simmering bit of vanilla underneath that like really pops out at the finish. So it feels like it sort of like smoothly seams in that vanilla flavour, and then it at the end. The chocolate flavour it's good, but it is a tiny bit overpowering. But it is a good chocolate flavour. It's not like, it doesn't taste too artificial. It tastes like quite a nice sort of like rich, creamy, sort of dark cocoa-y sort of flavour, which is actually quite nice. And as strong as it is, and as much as it probably could have been toned back just a tiny bit, it does complement the other flavours in this fairly nicely. So perhaps either the cocoa maybe could have been toned back a tiny bit, or vanilla flavour maybe could have been accentuated a little bit more at the beginning. But generally it's pretty well done. You do get a sense of how strong it is as well when you drink it, so this probably isn't for the faint of heart. Well, I would say the best thing about it is the texture. It is really smooth. You know, as strong as this is, you don't get a sense of like it lacquering the skin off your mouth or burning your tongue up. Even though it is strong for a stout, it is quite a smooth drinking experience. And I feel like even though the texture obviously, you know, it isn't part of the taste, but it does, I feel like if it is smooth and it is not particularly like harsh, it does help accentuate the flavour a bit more. So I feel like even though the flavour is imbalanced and it, you know, needs a tiny bit more refining, the fact that the flavour is still at least pretty competently, you know, brewed together, along with the fact that it's got a really nice, smooth, creamy texture, really brings it all together. So, and I do get more of the feeling like I'm just drinking like chocolate ice cream, but that's not a bad thing. Like boozy chocolate ice cream isn't, I won't complain. But I'll give it a... give it an 8 points. I'll give it an 8.5. It just, I think that, but that's if I'm in the really in the mood for it. So if I'm really in the mood for it, it gets just about into the elite level category of beers. But even without that, and even if I'm not necessarily fully in the mood, I'd still say it's an 8. So an 8 to an 8.5 I think is really good for this. I think just maybe make it a tiny little less rush on your head, and slightly smoother flavours that are like less overpowered by the cocoa taste, and then you've got yourself probably coming on for like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But as it is, I think 8 to 8.5 is pretty damn good. So there you go. I think, yeah, Tiny Rebel have once again done themselves pretty proud here, and I think they should give themselves a pat on the back, because I've tried concept gimmicky sort of like stouts before that have kind of just not really had any semblance of flavour. But this does, while it has a slightly imbalanced flavour, it does do what it says on the tin generally pretty well, so I've got to commend them for that. So yeah, if you did like this video, as always, leave a like, share and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you want to check out anything else I do, I'll leave the links to my social medias and other YouTube channels in the video description down below. But as always, I have been your most gracious host, Ted, here on this glorious Friday evening. Have fun, stay safe with whatever you're doing. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Wash your hands, take a mask with you to the shops, and I'll see you guys at the bar next time on Ted's Booze Cellar. Bye bye for now.